Hi, and welcome to another video by Get It Done Home Repairs. Today's project, we're going to be installing a range hood up in this area, right up inside here. Now, we purchased one already. We have it here, so I'm going to bring you over. I'm going to show you what it looks like, and then we're going to get started. We're going to put it up, and we're going to get this job done. Now, as you can see, we do have electrical wiring coming through right over here, which is not in the correct location. We're going to need to relocate it up into this area right up in here, but that's not a big deal. We're going to take care of that as well at the same time, which I'll bring you along and I'll show you how to do it. Let me bring you over. I'm going to show you what kind of tools we're going to need, and then we're going to get this job done and we're going to finish it off. All right, so let's go take a look at the unit itself, and then we'll continue from there. Okay, so this is the unit here that I purchased myself, just so you know. Let me show you a little bit closer what it looks like. It's called a Broan, and there's a BCDF 130SS, and it's a range hood. All right, stainless steel. All right, so that's what it's going to look like when we finish. All right, so let's open the box up. Let's see what you get inside here, and then we're going to get started, and we'll get it done. First thing we're going to do, we're going to put something down on the floor so we don't damage the unit when we remove it from the box. As I said, it's made by Broan, but that's it. All right, let's open it up and let's see where our stuff is now. Should be inside here. Everything we need is going to be inside of it. It's usually where everything is hidden. Okay, we're going to put these off to the side for now. We'll come back to these shortly. Here is our templates and all of our other items. And here is our brackets that we need to mount up onto the side of the cabinets themselves. All right, so let's take this apart, and then we'll get started, and we'll wrap this up. This is our template that we're going to have to put up underneath the bottom if we need to put any kind of holes in it or whatever. So this we'll hold on to, and we'll come back to this in a minute. But underneath here, we're going to remove everything that came packed inside here. We're just going to take it out just like this. Now, as I said, this is going to be a non-vented, so we are going to take everything out of here. We're going to take out this one screw, just to take this out like that. Okay. And now here, you can see is our electrical wiring right inside here, but we'll come back to this in a minute. Here comes all of our screws that we need right here, so we'll put this off to the side as well. We're going to come underneath here, we're going to cut this zip tie off right here, and we're going to remove our brackets. All right, these are our brackets that we're going to install. We'll cut these off as well. Okay, these are our brackets, but we'll come back to these in just a minute. But this is where our electrical wiring is going to go, just so you know, it's all inside here. We are not going to use this vent right here because, as I said, this is going to be a non-vented unit itself. So we're going to remove this screw right here. Okay. Now this we're not going to use because this is a vent to go outside. So we'll put that off to the side now. This is our bag of screws, which we're going to need. This, we're going to reuse this. This has got to go back up underneath here, like this, once we do our electrical wiring. So we'll come back to this in a minute, and we are also going to need that screw, of course. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to come up underneath the bottom of the unit itself. We're going to move everything out of our way so we don't damage anything. Just like that. We're going to lay it down. And now, remember what I was telling you about it being non-vented? This piece here, we're going to remove. And the way you do that, of course, just take this screw out here, like that. If you were venting it outside, of course, you would have to use that, but we are not venting it outside. So this comes off just like that. This goes to the side, and we are going to remove these three screws right here because we are going to choose to circulate the air inside the room itself. So let's take this out here. This comes off. And now this is where it's going to vent inside the room itself. This will remain open. This we do not use. This goes off to the side for now, and that'll be not being used. All right, so this is what it's going to look like before we put it up underneath the cabinets themselves. Let's mount our brackets in there, and we'll continue. Okay, here's an example of what kind of tools you're going to need. We're going to need something, of course, to measure where we're working. We're going to need some painter's tape. We're going to need a pencil from one of my favorite places to go visiting, Skagway, Alaska. We're going to need a screwdriver, a Phillips head, something possibly to strip wires. We may need a regular screwdriver. We're going to need a voltage tester, some wire nuts, a pair of cutting pliers to strip the wire. We're going to need a metal connector to connect up to our Romex wiring to. We're going to need a drill. We're going to need something to make a small hole in the wall to bring the wiring through. This, we'll see if we're going to need that. We may not. We'll see how it goes. And a piece of wire to fish the plug from where it comes through down here to where it's going to go up there. All right, but we'll get to that in just a minute. And of course, we're going to need some electrical tape, and we're going to need an assortment of drill bits. All right, so what we did now is we came up underneath the cabinets themselves here, and we measured from this side over here to this side over here, which is 30 inches. We marked a center point right here, which is 30 inches, and divided in half is 15, as you can see. We took our template and put it onto the wall itself, and now we know this point right here is where we're going to drill a small 1/8 inch pilot hole for the electrical wiring to come through. So we're going to do that. Now, first thing we'll do, let's drill that, and let's bring that wire from there up to there. All right, so let's do that. For A, just like this, 1/8 inch. All right, so now we have where our wiring is going to go. We can then remove this, and we'll cut this out to accommodate the wire coming through. Okay, and here's our small hole right here, so let's make this a little bigger to accommodate the house wiring itself. Now, lots of different ways you can do it. You can use a saw like this. It's meant to cut into drywall, or you can use whatever you have. Well, we're going to use the drywall saw, just like this. Okay, just like that. Now we're going to use our utility knife and we're going to cut it off on top right there. Okay. Okay, so that's the hole. And as you can see, it's just a straight run from here to there. So now let's take our wire, put our wire through, and we'll fish out that other end and pull it up to the top here. Okay, and we'll push this through until it comes out just like that. And now that's set for now. And now we're going to attach this wire to this end, and we're going to pull it up through this spot right here. All right, so let's get some electrical tape. Okay, now before you go any further, make sure that your power is turned off to your devices. I know that the power is off because I turned the circuit breaker off, but you would test it with your non-contact voltage tester to make sure that there's no power. If there was power in here, this would be beeping. So as you can see, there's no power in there at all. All right, so let's continue. We're just going to push this in here a little bit, get it out of our way, because we don't need all of this extra wire right here now. Okay, next we're going to tape this wire to the wire that's in here right now. This way we can pull it through the wall without that wire falling off. Okay, now we're going to push the wire inside the wall, just like this. Okay, and then we're going to pull it through the top. Okay, so after we pull our wire through, we can just leave the wire sitting here for now. We just take a pair of pliers. We're going to take off the electrical tape that we put on there because we don't need it. Just like that. And now we're going to keep this right here for now. And now we'll come up and we'll mount our brackets underneath here where they belong. We have two different kind of frames here. You have one that's framed like this, and you have one that's frameless. This one is meant for the frameless ones. This one here is flat and it sits up against the very edge here. But ours is not like that. Ours is a framed right along here. So we're going to take our bracket. We have the right one and we're looking here and it says front. Right here it says front and here it says right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take this, we're going to bring it up underneath here like that. We're going to make sure that it's against the wall back here, and then we're going to mark 3 little holes here, and then we're going to mount this bracket here, and we'll do the exact same thing on the opposite side here. So let me mount this bracket on there. Once this is on, we'll come back and I'll show you how to put that range hood in place. We take our bracket now, we bring it up against here, we make sure that our bracket is up against the back of the cabinet itself, the end of the we bring it up against here until it's touching the frame of the cabinet, and then we mark where we're going to drill our pilot holes. All right, and once we mark them, then we'll take it down, and we're going to drill the hole. It's going to be a 7/64, just so you know. And what we do is we take the drill bit, and you don't want to drill it too far, so we put a piece of tape around the drill bit so we know how far in to drill it. All right, so let's drill the hole now. Okay, and I drilled these previously. All right, so now we'll take our bracket and we'll mount our bracket up on there. We'll take our bracket, bring it up here, make sure you have wherever you're working covered so you don't drop the screw and you lose it by accident. We'll bring it in here and we're going to screw the screw in. We're not going to screw it tight, we're just going to catch it by 1 or 2 threads until we have all 3 of them caught, and then we'll come in and we'll tighten them up. All right. And now that we have all 3 of them caught, we can snug them down. I would recommend doing it by hand versus using a power drill because you don't want to strip out the cabinet itself. Okay, so this bracket is done. We mounted our other bracket on the other side. All right, so now after we have this cord on here, we're going to grab our range hood and we're going to slide it in, and this is where the range hood is going to hook onto, this point here and the corresponding point on the other side. All right, but before we put this in, we're going to bring our electrical wiring through the back of the cabinet or the range hood, and then we'll secure it in place. Okay, now we're going to take our metal connector before we put the hood up. We're going to come in here. Now remember, we put that wire coming through the side or the back of the unit right here. We're going to come out through this one here. If it was coming down through a cabinet, then of course you would be doing it through here, but that's not the case right now. So we're going to take this out. You just put a screwdriver in it and you twist it and you pull it out. If you can't get it out from this side, we'll go around the other side and we'll do it from the other side as well. We're just going to work it back and forth. And you see it just snaps right off. Next we're going to take our connector. We take the connector and it goes from the inside out this direction. So you take it like this, you put it through here, just like that. Catch the nut on this side here. Make sure your screws are facing down so you can get in here and tighten them up with a screwdriver. All right, and once you have it set, you come in with a pair of channel locks and you lock it in place. Okay, so now that's ready to go in. We're going to take the wires and we're going to feed the wires through here first, and then we'll catch this and we'll slide it onto those little cleats that we have on those brackets we just mounted. Through here where we had that bracket that was installed on there, we are going to push this back, of course. This is way too much wire, but for now it's just to hold it right here. We then took this hood and we remember those little pieces that were showing down on the bottom? These little hooks right here. We took the hood, put it up on here, and on the same thing on the other side right over here, caught the hook onto those two hooks there, and then we pushed it against the wall until it touches up against the wall all the way. All right, so now we're going to come in here and we're going to put two screws here. One here, one here. We're going to do the exact same thing on the other side, and that will secure the hood to the brackets that we just mounted up. All right, so let me grab the screws and we'll put them in there, and that'll be it. Okay. Ready? Okay, now we got the hood in place. We have our screws. We're going to screw them in to the corresponding holes underneath here. Sometimes you can get it in with a screwdriver. If you can't get it with a screwdriver, you just catch it to start it, and then you get in there with your driver and you can drive it all the way up. And then we'll do the exact same thing in the front right up here. Okay, so now our hood is screwed in here and here. We also did the same thing on the right side. We put our two screws in the side there. The hood is on. Next thing we're going to do now is we're going to come up and we're going to connect up our electrical wiring right here. Okay, next we're going to take our wiring. We're going to strip it back a little bit through here. We don't need a whole bunch of it, so we're just going to do probably about 4 inches or so. Watch you don't cut yourself. As you know, a razor knife is pretty sharp. Just like that. Pull it this way. Cut it like that. All right, we pull that off. We're going to take off the paper off of the wires, just like this. We don't need this, of course. Got a utility knife. Cut it away. Okay, so this one is our ground. This one is our hot lead, and the white one is our neutral. And we're just going to connect them up to the corresponding wires up in here. So let's pull these wires down, and we're going to make our connection. Remember, white to white, black to black, and then this is our ground, and the ground is going to be connected up right here on this one back here. All right, so we're going to push this back into the wall because we don't need all of this wiring. Push it back into there. Okay, so now we have our wire coming through right here. We tightened up these screws here to secure the wire so it doesn't move. It's nice and tight. You don't have to make it real tight, just snug, because it doesn't really do anything except keep the wire from moving around. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our ground wire, and the ground wire is a copper colored wire, and what we're going to do on the end of that copper wire, we're going to make a loop in the end of this wire. You take your pliers like this, you bend it around like that, and now this loop is going to go onto that wire, that green wire right there, and as you tighten it, you're going to tighten it clockwise. So we need to have this loop being pulled tighter as it rotates through there. I'll show you what I mean. We're going to take this, bring it up in here, just like that. So as you're tightening it now, it's going to pull that loop tighter. So we can take our screwdriver now and tighten up our ground. Hold it in place. Okay, and our ground wire is now connected. Next, we're going to take our two black wires right here. We're going to strip them back, and we're going to connect them on these. Take our cutters. We're going to come in here, and we're just going to strip off some of the insulation. And strip back like this. We take our corresponding wire, white wire to white wire, black wire to black wire. So we just take it, put it on here just like this, wrap it around. Grab our wire nut and screw it down. All right, as far down as you can, it's tight. You do not want to have any of the wire, the copper part of the wire showing here. It has to be inside the nut. All right, we're going to do the same thing with our black wire right here. Bring it around like this. Make sure they're nice and tight, that they're not going to pull out by accident. And as you can see, they are. And now after we have the wires all connected up, we're just going to put a piece of tape on here just to be extra careful. You don't necessarily have to do this, but I am. Okay, now we're going to take these wires and we're just going to push them up out of the way just like that so we can put our cover back on and cover everything up. Now the cover has got slots in it right here. We're going to put these two slots on the corresponding slots up there, and then we'll put that one screw in through the bottom. So let's do that. Okay, we got it in place. We're next going to take our screw and we'll put that one screw in here to hold this cover on. Okay, and that covers up all of our electrical wiring. All right, let's grab our covers here and we'll put those back on. Okay, so now we're going to put our filters in. There's a little spring-loaded pieces on here, so when you put them into the hood itself, you push in and they'll snap right in place. All right, so we're just going to put it in here just like this. Take your finger, put it in here, push it, and it snaps right in place. Push it all the way to the left side. We're going to take our second one, do the exact same thing, put it in here just like this, push it in, and then it snaps right in place. Just like that. And that's all there is to it. They're actually finished. All right, so that's it. The hood is all in. Everything works perfectly. We have our different controls here for the light setting as well as the fan itself. All right, but that's it. The job is all finished and we're on to the next one. All right, as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.